Welcome back. Episode 21 now. We are still in the 1-3 streets. It's going to be that way for a bit, but let's get into the hands. First time we have ace-6 of clubs on the button. There's been a raise to $10 mid position. Low jack is called. We are just going to flat this, and the blinds get out of the way. So 3 ways to a flop. 8-8-7, 2 clubs. It's a pretty good start. They both check to me, and I'm going to start betting here. I bet small, $10, and only the low jack calls. So off to an even better turn. The queen of clubs. Low jack checks. We're going to keep betting here. I size up a bit to 35, and he makes the call. River's not great, though. It's another club. He checks it over, and just something about this player. I know it's like less than a pot size bet behind. I just don't think they're going to call a shove. So I just bet pretty much their entire stack, $80, and he doesn't think for too long and makes the call. And we are good. So great way to start the session. Okay, on to the next hand. We have ace-king suited under the gun +2. We raise it up to 15. Middle position calls, and then button 3 bets us to $50. Folds back round to me, and against most players this would just be a call, but I've seen this player quite a bit. I think I've seen him play 2-5, and he was having a conversation with the person beside him that he likes to 4-bet light, like ace-5 suited, ace-4 suited and stuff, so good to know. Yeah, against that range, this hand is pretty good. So we're going to go ahead for the 4-bet here. I'll make it 125. Middle position folds, and he tanks for quite a while. And then jams. Nothing to do here. We're calling against this player. And we show our hand. He doesn't show his. We get to a flop of queen 9-5, and immediately standing up, looking at his hand. It's never a good sign. Probably going to need some help. Turn is the jack of spades. Looking pretty good. River is the 3 of clubs, so we are unimproved. And he shows the ace-9 suited. We have lost 8 all-ins pre-flop in a row now. 8! Nice hand. We're on to the next one. In this next hand, we have downgraded to ace-10 suited. We're facing 3 limps, and we're on the button. We're going to raise this up to $20. And everyone calls. Everyone. We're 6 ways to a flop of ace-9-5, 2 hearts. Surprisingly, no one leads here, and it checks all the way to me. I'm not betting here. I'm going to check this back. I know it's wet, but I'm checking back. Turn is the 6 of spades, so 7-8 kind of got there. And those 2 flush draws. It checks over to middle position, who jams all in for $190 into 120. Folds to me, and we lose to 7-8. We lose to pocket 6s, but I think he would have led on the flop with it if he had anything better, so I'm going to make the call here. Hoping that small blind or big blind don't have anything. But they both fold. We are off to the river, which is the 3 of diamonds. Pretty much a blank. I show my hand, and it's good. Nice. Facing 2 limps, we have king 9 suited in the hijack. I'm going to raise this up to 18. Cutoff makes the call, and so does one of the limpers. So 3 ways to a beautiful flop. Ace, king, king, 2 diamonds. Checks to me, going to start with a small bet. I make it 20. And the under the gun, the original limper, calls. So off to a turn. Deuce of spades, pretty good. It checks it to me. If we had the best hand on the flop, we still the best hand. Gonna keep betting here. I make it 60, and he calls. River is not, it's okay. Deuce of hearts, so if he had a better king, I guess now at least we're chopping. Oh no, we were chopping anyways, were we? Ace, king, 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 9. No, we're not. I'm bad at this. He does something interesting here, though. He leads for $60. Bit weird here, but I think we're going to have to raise for value. This is the same player that I didn't want to jam on when I had the 4 to a flush. I just don't think he's going to call an all-in, so I'm going to make it 120, which is usually what I do in these, where it's like you have it or you don't. Either you have a king or you don't, right? So I make 120, and he thinks for a while, and then calls. He's got ace deuce for another full house, so we are going to take this one down as well. Final hand of our first session. We have king queen offsuit. I make it $12 under the gun +2. We get no less than 3 callers, so we're 4 ways to a flop. It's all right. King 7-6, 2 hearts. Checks to me. I start with a small bet of 20, and only the big blind calls. So off to a turn, which is the 4 of spades. Checks to me. I'm going to size up here. I make it 60. He goes deep into the tank, and I think he might raise, so I start thinking about what I'm going to do, and he does in fact raise it up to 180. Something feels a little fishy here. There's not that many hands that complete on this 4 that he would want to raise, but he is in the big blind, right? He can have, 6-4, 7-4, king 4, all these like 2-pair hands, as well as having 5-3 and 5-8. If he was one of the limpers, I would be more inclined to just get it in here with him. But against the big blind, he's just got too many of these, hands that actually can connect with this 4, which sort of looks like a blank. Yeah, I'm going to let this one go. And he shows the A7 off. I knew there was something off about that. Really nice bluff, though. Really, really nice bluff. Nice hand. I have just realized that I've missed a recording. My bad. But this is the first hand of our second session. We have pocket 7s. We're going to raise this up to 15 on the button. And both the blinds make the call. So off to a flop of king 9, 7. Pretty nice. Gonna start off with a small bet here. When it checks to me, I make it 20 and they both call. Off to the turn, which is the 3 of diamonds. They both check it to me, and normally it's size up here, but they're both pretty short. I want them to still call with a hand like 9 that's completely drawing dead. Right? There's no real bad rivers for us. There's a few, but there's not many. So I make it really small. I make it 40 and they both call. Off to the river, which is literally the worst one in the deck. It's the 8 of diamonds. The flush gets there, Jack 10 gets there, which is a double gut shot, and 5-6, which is also a double gut shot, gets there. Like, come on. So rude. But anyways, they both check it over to me. I think we still have the best hand here almost every time, so I jam for value. Small blind thinks for a bit, then calls. Big blind also thinks for a bit, and then also calls. We show our hand, and the small blind shows ace jack of diamonds. Off to a rough start again on our second session. This hand is something new for the vlog. We've gone under the gun straddle, under the gun plus 2 a straddle to 12, and I'm in the third straddle at $25. Button raises to 50, everyone folds. I got king 9 off, I'm defending, and we go to a flop of 9-8-6, 2 diamonds. I check it over to him, he bets 50, and over here I think we've only got, we're just gonna stick it in. I don't think there's really any more maneuverability post flop. You got top pair, top kicker, it's a very wet board. So I shove all in, and he's only got 5 high, so he can't call. So pretty cool to take down a 1-3-6-12-25 game, the biggest game I've ever played in my life. Cool. We're back to boring old 1-3. Facing 4 limps though, we got ace 3 suited on the button. I'm gonna raise this up to 25. Folds back to the original limper who just jams his $125 in. This is the same player from the last hand. Happy to give action to this player, so I make the call. We're all in again, pre-flop. And we get a pretty good flop though. Jack 7-3 with 2 hearts. Turn is the deuce of diamonds, and the river is the 7 of clubs, unfortunately. But he rolls over king 10, and we have won an all-in pre-flop. $125 we won. It only took us 9 goes. Feels pretty good, not gonna lie. Okay, heading over to park now. We have queen jack suited in the low jack, our first playable hand. I make it 12. Person to my left with a very big stack. He seems like a reg, makes it 40. Folds around to the big blind, who's definitely not a reg, and overcalls. And I make the call as well. So we're 3 ways to a flop of queen 8-4 all clubs. Gonna check it over, and it checks through. Turn is the 6 of spades. Big blind checks. I'm still a bit unwilling to bet here. I think hijack can still have some traps. So I check it over, and the hijack puts in a bet of 60. Big blind calls, and I think folding's okay here, but I'm going to make the call. So off to a river, which is the 6 of hearts. And now big blind leads for $60. So now my read on this situation is that they're both pretty weak here. I don't think either of them are very strong. Like hijack, I just don't think he'd bet that amount on the turn with a good hand. Big blind has nothing. So I actually am going to turn my hand into a bluff here and try and get hijack off of maybe like a better queen or like kings without a club. Or even if big blind has a hand like king queen or something like that. I don't think our hand is the best here, and I don't really want a hero call. So I'm actually going to turn my hand into a bluff here. I know I'm not representing much, but I don't think it matters because I think big blind, I think hijack's going to fold easily. And I think big blind isn't going to be able to call either. This is just insane. So I jam my entire stack in, hijack things for about 5 seconds, and calls. I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid. Big blind folds. I say nice hand, table it, and we're good. We're good. Hijack picked off we were bluffing in like 5 seconds and called us with pocket tens, I think. He showed one of the tens, so I think he actually called up. Man, that is brutal. We're gonna stack him. What a crazy hand. In this next hand, we have 2 limps and we're on the button with ace queen off. Make it $20. Folds round, but both the limpers make the call. So off to a flop of king 5-4 with 2 spades. Checks to me, and we start off the small bet here. I make it 20, and the hijack calls. Off to the turn. Ace of diamonds, pretty good. Even better news, hijack leads out for 50. Could raise, but I think just calling, keeping his ace X in is better. So I make the call off to a river, jack of diamonds, and he checks it over. It's only got like a pot-sized bet behind. I think I prefer something like 120 here. But I go ahead and jam it all in, and he doesn't think for too long and just mucks. Don't know what he had. Okay, this hand I feel a little bit bad about. Button is a very, very new player, and I've been bullying him a lot in pots. I've just been bluffing him like crazy because he's just very unwilling to call down. You can tell he's very new. So he limps the button, small blind completes. I check my 6-3 offsuit in the big blind. We go to a flop of 8-5-2, 2 spades. I check it. Small blind checks, I check, and he checks back. So off to a river, which is the 4 of diamonds. Small blind checks. I'm going to start betting here. I make it 10. Button calls, small blind folds. Off to a river, jack of diamonds. Pretty good. We still have almost the nuts. I'm just going to keep betting big like I was doing with my bluff. So I make it 2x pot, $60. He doesn't think for too long and just jams. And it's at this point that I look down at the board and realize that I don't even have the nuts. I thought I did, but 6-7 beats me, which is a bit unfortunate because this doesn't feel great. But we do have a straight. We're going to toss it in, and he shows the jack 3 off. Really sorry, man. It's not your day. Okay, we've got the adult straddle on. I'm in the big blind, pocket queens. There's been 2 limps. I make it $30, and everyone calls. So 4 ways to a pretty gross flop. 10-8-8, 2 spades. Checks to me. I'm just going to check this back 4 ways, and it checks through. So off to a turn, which is the 7 of clubs. Even worse. Small blind leads out for 25. I'm just going to flat here. Under the gun 1 raises to 90. Button folds. Already is feeling pretty dicey. Luckily though, small blind decides to jam all in. Easy fold now. And the under the gun player tanks for a bit and ends up folding. Small blind shows 10-8 of diamonds for a flop boat. Really happy. We only lost $55 in that hand. Okay, straddle is on. Hijack has called, and we're on the button with pocket aces. I make it 25. Both the straddle and the limper call. So 3 ways to a flop of 7-5-3, 2 spades. Pretty good. Gonna start with a small bet here, $25, and they both call. Off to a turn, which is really good. 3 of diamonds. Makes pocket 3s less likely, although that would most likely raise on the flop, but 7-5s now counterfeit. And all their 2 pairs are going to be useless anyway. So, checks to me. I'm going to size up here a little bit to 75. Under the gun calls, and hijack folds. Off to a river, which is the queen of hearts. Now under the gun leads on this card for 145, about half pot. A little bit weird. So this player, he came over to the table, I think a couple orbits ago. He sat down, immediately straddled. I raised to 25, and he 3-bet me to 85. I folded, but he also knows quite a few players. He's talking about 2-5, so I think he's a reg. But he leads on this card, which is strange. This kind of seems like a missed draw, as he would have raised value, I think, at some point in the hand. But I think his most likely holding here is like king, queen, or queen, jack of spades. And he's putting me on something like 8s to jacks. So I think this is a little bit thin, but I think that we can go for a value raise here and target just that very small portion of his range, because I can't see him doing this with value, right? A flop set is going to want to check raise this flop. It's really tough for him to have a 3 here because I block ace-3 suited. There's only 1 combo left of that. So I'm actually going to raise this for value. I make it $400. He doesn't think for too long, chucks in the call, and we show. And he shows the 10-3 suited. Ouch. I don't know. I feel like our raise is good, but just didn't work out this time. Okay, button straddle is on. Small blind has called. We have ace queen off in the hijack. I make it 25. Player to my left 3 bets to 70. Folds back round to me, and this is the same player that called us with the bluff catcher, the pocket tens versus my queen jack in the first hand. So since he's a reg, I do want to have some 4-bet bluffs sometimes. Normally I just fold this, but this time is a bit different. 4-bet sizing is a little bit weird here because it is a straddle pot. You want to go about 25% of your stack, so it's going to be a very small 4-bet. So I make it 125, and he thinks for a bit, and then just calls. So off to the flop, which is 8-8-6 rainbow. Phenomenal flop if you're 4-bet bluffing. So I'm going to start with a very small bet here. I'm going to go 3 streets here, very small. So I make it $60, thinks for a while, and makes the call. So off to a turn, just a 9 of diamonds. Doesn't change a whole lot for 4-bet ranges. I'm going to keep betting here. I think jam is okay, but I want to do 2 very small streets because that's how I would play aces and kings and probably pocket queens as well. So I make it 120, thinks for quite a while, and then folds. Very happy to take that one down. Pretty cool to see a 4-bet bluff working at 1-3. In this next hand, we've upgraded our ace queen to pocket queens. Under the gun one has raised to 21 over the button straddle, and we're going to make it 65. Folds rounds the cutoff who makes the call. Button folds, and the original raiser also calls. So 3 ways to a flop of 10-4 deuce, 2 clubs. Checks to me, definitely going to start betting here. I make it 65, and cutoff calls, and under the gun folds. So off to a turn, which is the 8 of diamonds. It's a little bit dicey here. Really, like the only hands we can get value from is pocket jacks, I think. He overcalled the 3-bet, like maybe ace 10 suited, maybe some like ace queen of diamonds, which no, that doesn't even call a flop. Like you can't even have ace queen of clubs, ace jack of clubs, ace king of clubs, maybe. I don't know. It seems a bit thin, but I'm going to go ahead and jam all in. He calls really quickly. Off to a river, which is the 7 of diamonds. It's all right. I show my hand and we're good. So this game has turned into a mandatory straddle. There are lots of drinks going around. It's a lot of fun. So the 1-3-6 game is on. Cutoff is raised to 20. I'm just going to flat here on the button with ace jack off, and the straddler also comes along. So 3 ways to a flop of jack, 9, 8, 2 clubs. Checks to me. I'm going to bet small here. I make it 25. And they both call. Off to the turn, which is the 9 of diamonds. Definitely going to slow me down here. I'm just going to proceed with a bit of caution. I check it back. And river is the 7 of spades. So board's getting really dicey. There's a 4-liner to a straight. It checks to me. And I think I can go for a little bit of thin value here. It's really thin. We lose to any 9, any 10. Yeah, I'm going to go for some value here. I make it 85. Straddler folds. Cutoff thinks for a little while. And she makes the call. We show, and it is good. Final hand of the vlog. We're going to end it on pocket aces. The mandatory straddle is on. I make it $18 under the gun plus 2. Folds round to the button who makes it $50. Folds back to me. She's only got like 120-ish behind, so we're just going to go with it. It's clear she wants to get all in. I jam. She calls. We are once again all in pre-flop. I hate this. Flop comes down pretty good. 9-5-4. Turn is the queen, and she rolls over her pocket queens. I hate all-ins pre-flop. At least this was a small one. That is it for episode 21. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who's liking, commenting, subscribing, watching the videos, anything like that. I really do appreciate it. In this episode, we played 3 sessions. We did a $600 buy-in at Grand Villa, cashed out for $968 for a win of $368. Pretty good. Played another Grand Villa session. We're in for $650, out for $490 for a loss of $160. And finally, we played a very fun session over at Park Casino. We're in for $400, out for $944 for a win of $544. bringing the total win this video to $752. Pretty nice addition to the bankroll. We're grinding it back up. We're gonna be at 2.5 before you know it. Bankroll, we started at $2,711, and we're gonna end this video at $3,198. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you again so much for watching.